I will basically be going through a bunch of the exercises from Felder, and I will start with some of the simpler ones without any recycling or bypass or any chemical reactions, and we'll basically see how far we get today. So the first one we'll be looking at is the assignment 4.3 that you can hopefully see on your screen. And basically I'm going to show you how I would do a simple sketch for this system, how I would then transfer that into Excel, and how I would set up all of my stream informations, equations, and finally how I would solve them in Excel. And I got a message from something. Who cares? Anyways, in this case it's actually fairly simple. We're told that we have a mixture of benzene and toluene that enters a evaporator, and we basically get a stream of vapor and a residual liquid. So how would you draw that? Well, basically, let's see if this works. We have a stream into a reactor, and what we're told is we have a top stream and we have a bottom stream, and then if we label the first part of our system 1, if we use our normal way of naming our streams, we would have S01, S11, and S12. So now we have our streams labeled, and we can then look at the information we're given. And we are being told that in our stream 01, so in our entry stream, we have 55% of benzene. And of course a lot of you would then say that we can quickly calculate that we must have 45% of toluene, but we'll put that in Excel later. So actually that is, what else are we being told? Let's see, our vapor phase, so S11, we're told that it contains, no, we're not allowed to calculate. I'll make a small star and say that one we're not going to touch right now. I just want to get the information so I don't forget it. What else are we being told? We are told in our vapor phase we have 85% of benzene, so that would be our stream 11. So we have 85% of benzene in that stream. And we're being told in our bottom stream we have 10.6% of benzene as well. And then we're actually being told in the first assignment that we should assume a feed rate of 100 kilograms per hour. So that would be our S01, would have a total mass of 100 kilograms per hour. Is there anything else we're being told? I will just point out I have done these in Excel, but I have decided to basically read through them as if it's the first time I see them. I can't remember all the values, so we'll have a bit of time where you can follow along. But basically this is all the information we're given, and now we want to put this into Excel. So how would we approach that? Well, let me just cheat a bit. If we go to our Excel sheet, and I have cheated and drawn the same one without the extra information about our streams, but this is just so we can remember which streams are which. So we have our stream 01, our stream 11, and our stream 12. Then we have the total mass in each stream. Okay, I'm just gonna silence my phone because that gets annoying. Why the fuck are you all sitting there watching it together? My students are mental. It's lovely. Thank you all for joining. Yeah, I'll just silence my phone. There we go. So where were we? Yes, we have our streams 01, 11, and 12. Then we have our actually I'm gonna try it a bit different, because some of you had some trouble with the way I was doing the equation, so I've simplified it a bit. So before I would have my fraction, and then I would have my percentage of B, or percentage of benzene, and my percentage of toluene. I'm gonna put the same information in there. I'm just gonna switch it around a bit. So I will say this is my mass of benzene and my mass of toluene. Here we have my percentage of benzene, my percentage of toluene, and over here I'm basically just checking that my fractions in my streams, that they all add up to 1. We must have our streams consisting of 100% of something. So to do that, I write equal summa in Spanish, I believe, and I basically pick my two cells that contain my percentages of B and T, and at the moment it sums up to 0. That's fine, we haven't written anything. To save a bit of time, I'll grab the corner here, drag it down, and you can see that the equations just change to E3 F3, E4 F4. So now I have a way of checking that all of what I put in actually sums up to 1. So let's put in some of the information, and we'll do it the correct way right now. So I was told that I had 55% of B in my stream 01. I was told that I have, that's the top one, so 85% there, and 10.6% in the bottom stream. So that's actually what I've been told. I've also been told that I should assume 100 kilograms of mass entering my system. So we're just gonna do as I showed before. We're gonna mark these and say these are the unknowns we have. Of course you can say that these are unknowns as well, but we can express them quite easily from the two percentages and our total mass. So we could say that the mass of benzene in our stream 01, we can say, well, that's the percentage of benzene times the total mass. And as I've told you a couple of times, if you press F4 a couple of times here, so we have the $sign at our B. No, that is, we'll get to that. Whoever trigona is, yeah. I'm just gonna fill these out, check that I got it right. So you can see, because I had the $sign, my B column remains the same. And I can then be super lazy and just do like this. Now, there are two ways we can approach the percentages. In this case, we only have two components, so it's very obvious that the toluene will be 1 minus whatever I have in my benzene. Now, I can either do that by forcing Excel to make all of my fractions 1, or I can do a simple calculation and just put in, whoa, I did it wrong, 1 minus the cell I have here. Then I get my composition of toluene. If I do this, I have now decided on these cells for Excel, even though they could be assumed to be sort of variable, or at least it would be cells that I could ask Excel to calculate as part of the solver. In this case, it is a fairly simple assignment, so we'll just put in these equations to tell me what my compositions of toluene is in all of the streams. That leaves me with only two variables: how much goes through my S11 in total, and how much exits in S12 in total. I just need to check the assignment. We're not told anything else, right? Nope. So now we want to set up our balances. In this case, again, it's fairly simple because it is a small system, but we can set up a total mass balance, a benzene mass balance, and a toluene mass balance. We can set up a balance for our first unit operation and for our entire system. Now, if we start out with our total mass, we look at our drawing and we say, well, what enters our first unit operation? That would be S01, so the total mass of S01 enters, and then we subtract the streams that exits. So in this case, that would be this one, 1, 1 exits plus 1, 2 exits. Fairly simple balance. So now we have what enters minus what exits, and that should hopefully give 0 when we solve it. And because I switched it around a bit how I do the calculations, I don't need my dollar signs over here. If I drag it along here, we'll just check it. You can see that I'm basically taking the amount of, or the mass of benzene in 0, 1 and subtracting the mass of benzene in 1, 1 and 1, 2. So now I have my 3 balances, the total, benzene and toluene. In this case, because we only have one unit operation, our total mass balance, you can see, will be the same. It'll be what enters our system, 0, 1, and what exits, 1, 1 and 1, 2. So in this case, you could say we can write it, but there's no point. It's basically the same. On top of that, these 3 equations are actually not independent. If I know 2 of them, my third one will also be determined. So I actually only need 2 of my cells to determine my system. So that's what we're going to try now. We'll go to the out. Just in case some of you don't have Solver activated in Excel yet, we'll just do that. File, Options, Add-ins, and then we click Go. And then we can activate our Solver and click OK. And we now have our solver. If we go to the data part, we have our solver here. So let's open it up. In this case, our K2 is our total mass balance. We would like that, we would like that to equal 0. And what else do we have? We can say that this cell, so our balance for benzene, also has to equal 0. Yeah, I think you have to mark your Excel window and then do it. I'm not a Mac user, so I actually don't know. I happen to know that if you Google how to activate Solver in Excel on Mac, there will be guides with lovely screenshots. Otherwise, I'll be more than happy to help you next time, because we did solve it. I just can't remember exactly how. Oh, you can't see the... Oh, hang on. Okay. Thank you. Hang on a second, then I know what's wrong. How do I fix that? How do I fix that? That won't work. That will work if I remove that. Hang on. Okay, let's try it again. Just to activate the solver in Excel, we go to File, we go to Options, and then here we have our add-ins. And if you click Manage Excel Add-ins, Go, you can then check off Solver, and you have the solver activated. And hopefully I'll just keep an eye on my stream. Now we have this. Okay, we'll just take that from the beginning. So we've set up our balances, and we've entered all of the information we were given. So we can open our solver, and then we can just say, normally when you open up solver, whatever cell you had activated, it's gonna put it in your objective cell. Otherwise you just click here, and you can then pick whatever cell it is. In this case, we want our total mass balance to equal 0. We want our benzene mass balance to equal, to equal 0. Which cells can we change? Well, we actually only have 2 variables. So if you click here, we can select these 2 cells and say those are the 2 cells that we are actually allowed to change. I believe this should be enough. So fingers crossed, we'll try and see what Excel... Oh no, hang on. Before I do that, it's often a good idea to give Excel some values in all of these cells. It can sometimes mess up a bit. So we'll just put some values into those 2 cells. One of the main issues I've noticed Yeah, you have to watch out for that. I've done the exact same thing using smaller than or equal when I meant greater than or equal or whatever. Another thing I did notice is if you put in random numbers, let's just see how can I do that. So let's say I did like this. This could actually be a problem because Excel tends to notice that this cell is already 0, so any change it makes probably makes it not 0. So I just change it to 49, and Excel is going to go back and say, no, if I change it in that direction, it's bad. So Excel sort of gets stuck. So it's a good idea to just put in some random numbers when we're talking about the compositions. Keep them below 1, so between 0 and 1. But let's try it. K2, yeah, K2 equal to 0, L2 equal to 0. It can change those two. I actually don't know if we have to put another constraint. Oh no, it's on the wrong screen. Hang on. There we go. Excel found a lovely solution for us. And we can then take a look at what has changed. Excel found that 59.6 kilograms will exit in the top and 40.3 will exit in the bottom.